Next question. How can I deal with trauma recovery without bringing that trauma into the present? If my behavior is manifesting out of trauma responses, how can I change that by focusing on it? We can tell by the carefully worded question that you understand that you can't get there from there. In other words, if you remain focused upon a trauma, you will, in the now, while you are focusing on it, you will reactivate it. So your now point of attraction is affected by what you're focusing upon. Whether you are looking toward the past or looking at something in the present or even anticipating the future, you're still doing it now. So the emotion that you feel now is your indicator of what's going on vibrationally. However, it is a good idea to own where you are on those subjects. Don't pretend that you're not still traumatized if you are. And by poking around at it and then feeling what it feels like when you do, then you are able to acknowledge that I am still here, that this is where I am on the emotional scale. And unless you know where you are on the emotional scale, you cannot do any improving of your vibration. You have to know where you're starting from in order to be able to reach for the next emotion that is less resistant, and then the less that is less resistant, and so on. We wouldn't go looking for trouble, and we wouldn't reactivate or re-emphasize troubling things. But when they come up, and you know that they are because you're having an emotional event, an emotional experience, when it comes up, acknowledge that you're feeling negative emotion, identify as best you can what that emotion feels like, identify it, isolate it on the emotional scale, and then make a decision to do something about it. Make a decision to take a little bit of time right then and there, if you have the time, to move it to a better feeling place. It's likely that if you have had a traumatic experience in your past, and if there is still an active vibration within you about it, that it has, since that first traumatic experience, been compounded by others similar to it, maybe less than it, but similar to it. Because since it has been your point of attraction for a while, then you have attracted from life other things that match it also. So in most cases, you have a pattern that has developed as a result of that first traumatic experience. It is not difficult to leave those traumatic experiences in the past. The reason that we know that so clearly and speak it so emphatically is because we know for sure that your inner being is not looking back at that experience when you had trauma, and that the negative emotion you feel is because you are when your inner being is not. The whole point of the emotional guidance scale is to deliberately focus yourself in closer and closer proximity, moment by moment, subject by subject, topic by topic, emotion by emotion, to where your inner being resides consistently. This is a powerful tool. My question is, how do I not notice something about someone or a situation that I don't like when I'm seeing them or the situation multiple times per day? Do I just need to prepave more and fantasize more? Or is there something more that you can offer on this subject that would help me to see things as Source sees them in the moment? We like that you introduced into your question the word, do I need to prepave? Because that's where our answer is pointed. Prepaving, meaning getting out ahead of it, planning in advance how you intend to feel. You do that by making general statements. And if you can make general statements early in your day, before you have been aware of seeing multiple times things that you don't like, you have a better chance of sticking there. We also want you to consider it's not a bad thing. It's really quite a good thing. You are landing on the emotional scale in a place that doesn't feel so good, and you know it. Because that means your guidance system is working. And since you know what to do about it, this is a good thing. Also, it is our absolute knowing, as that happens to you multiple times in a day, you're pretty much landing on a pretty similar emotion or feeling each time, which means it's going to become very clear to you that you have an emotional set point that you could improve. So each time during these multiple times, if you take a minute to identify where you landed, isolate it, poke around on it a little bit, own it, and then deliberately reach for the better feeling that is just above it on the scale, you're going to get a lot of really good work done in a short period of time. Next question. I have heard you say a lot on YouTube that selfishness is really the only way to go. My idea has always been that a smaller sacrifice for me that is of big value to others is a good thing. Sometimes I really do not want or have time and energy to do that sacrifice or that work, but I do it anyway because my disadvantage will make things better for someone else. For example, with my children. I may feel really tired or want to do my own things, but a child needs or wants, mostly needs, they're really happy and independent. Needs or wants my help with homework or some other things. I never act as a martyr with sending signals as I would prefer to do something else. I raise my inner strength and say, yes, of course. Afterwards, I normally feel we have had a good time and I'm glad I did it. Such situations often take place with family and friends. And some periods there is no time left for me doing my own wanted things. And so I'm asking, are we supposed to do only things that we find really pleasuring? Or if not, when is it okay to do some sacrifices that are of big value to others? We would never say that it is not of value to help another. And we would also never say that it doesn't often feel good to do something that helps another. But there are some things that we want to help you sort out here, because it's not the activity or the action that you take that is important. It is how you are feeling when you take the action that matters. In other words, if you are feeling resentment, or if you are feeling overwhelmed when you take that action, even if you do say, yes, of course, since you have split energy within yourself, you're doing it, but you would rather not. Your words do not come across as effectively or as positively as you think that they might be. In other words, you're offering split energy. It is so much better to be certain that you want to do it before you do it. And by this we mean simply take a moment to make the decision that you're going to do it, and then before you actually take action, line up with that. And if you're not able to line up with it where you wholeheartedly feel good about it, then say something like, let me take a little time to think about this, because I don't want to help you when I'm not wholeheartedly focused with you. Now, this may sound awkward, and you may think that others will not hear it so well. And in the beginning, if they're used to you just jumping in and helping out, they may very well not take it so well. But it is so important, for the sake of your point of attraction, for you to know when you've got split energy and when you don't. For you to know when you're in alignment with source energy, which means you feel contentment, hopeful, optimistic, positive expectation, enthusiasm, passion, joy, knowledge, empowerment, all the way up the emotional scale. In other words, make sure you're somewhere between 7 all the way up to 1 before you take action with anyone. Or be real about it. I'm going to help you, but I have to let you know I'm not lined up with this, and so you're not going to get the best of me. You're going to get a willing part of me because I'm willing to help you, but you're not going to get the best of me or the all of me. This is such a good example to set with those close to you, especially your children. If it's family and friends, other situations in your life where they may not be even close to understanding what work you are doing or anything about the emotional scale, You may not want to be so bold as to say these words, but it's a good thing for you at least to acknowledge where you are when you take action. And we know for sure that if you take enough opportunities where you are being asked to do something and you don't quite feel like you're ready to, and you do the emotional scale work, that you will release enough of your resistance that those who don't even understand the work you're doing, who are friends and family and acquaintances and so forth, the law of attraction will not bring them to you under those conditions. They're coming to you when you don't feel like helping them, because you have so often not felt like helping them but helped them anyway. So you've got this vibration going on, this vibration of reluctance or this vibration of split energy, which is a point of attraction. Let's place that somewhere on the emotional scale. It can be anywhere on the emotional scale, from contentment down. In other words, you could be pessimistic and still help. That's 9. Or frustrated and still help. That's 10. Impatient and still help. Irritated and still help. That's 10. You could be in a state of confusion or overwhelmment. You could be feeling stress and still help. You could be feeling disappointment and still help, or attempt to help. This is what we're saying, attempt to help. You could feel doubt and worry and blame and discouragement and anger and so forth, and still go through the motions. But you're not really helping, and you're giving them mixed signals, and you're causing more confusion in them. And we know from what we can feel for you that you're really wanting to clean up your vibration. We want to focus on that word, smaller sacrifice. It's always been my idea, you said, that a smaller sacrifice for you that is of big value to others is a good thing. And we see what you're getting at. But we've just got to tell you, anytime you feel like you're offering sacrifice, you've got split energy.